All right, we got some people joining in. Drop me a thumbs up if you can hear me because I'm in my car and I'm sure I'm gonna have all kinds of freaking audio issues right now. So give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Not no thumbs up yet. Oh, there they go. Let's go, boys and girls and girls and girls. I got that 10% female viewership. I have to say that must be decently strong in the cryptocurrency community, so we will take that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Nice. Awesome. So guys, I don't know. I just shoot me whatever questions you want. I want to start doing these around 12 Eastern most days. And I just wanted to start doing this, right? Because I have so many freaking scammers in the comment sections. I like can't answer people. It's like impossible for me to be like have a conversation with you guys. So I want to make sure I give you guys more of an opportunity to ask me questions, whatever you want. And also, if any of you are subscribed to me on Twitter, make sure to DM me there so I don't miss any of your comments. All right, here they start rolling in. Let's go. Thoughts on CPI? Kind of a nothing burger today. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I think the more important thing was, right, it wasn't bad. Like we really didn't want to see bad CPI. Uh, I make this point on the channel all the time for those of you who follow. Really, we just want good CPI because the sooner we get good CPI, and whether or not you think the markets are manipulated, whether or not you think the numbers are fake, just ignore that. As soon as we get to 2% CPI, whether that number is real or fake, big institutions are going to feel comfortable, right, investing their money in risky assets again, which means cryptocurrencies. If we have really bad CPI numbers and institutions are all panicking, they're going to want to be very conservative, and normally their money goes to bonds and really safe things. If we have really good market conditions and low CPI, then they tend to get a little more risky and will go into things like cryptocurrencies. So we have inflation coming down, not really fast, but it is coming down. So overall, I think it's generally good. Is it excellent? It's not the best thing in the world. It could be coming down faster, but I think right now we just want to avoid bad news and kind of ride the catalyst of the things that are right around the corner, like the Bitcoin spot ETF. That's going to be awesome. And there's a lot of other things coming too. Let's see what else we got here. Do you believe in DAI's theory of XRP preventing World War II? Can you explain? Um, that's definitely a loaded one. Um, I think that if you have a neutral currency and people can't manipulate currencies, then I think it can. Whether or not it like directly prevents it, I don't think so. But just think about it this way. If you don't have the United States using the dollar to manipulate markets, right? Well, then you're going to create a lot less tension, right? If I am not able to go into your bank account and delete money, then me and you are probably going to have less issues. Now, there's trade-offs to that, right? There's a lot of people saying the US is going to lose the reserve currency. That's going to be bad. Put all that aside. I think generally having a neutral asset, a neutral piece of liquidity, a neutral instrument is good for the financial system. And if I can trade with someone who I don't like or don't trust in a trustless, decentralized manner, that's really good because then we can do business and I don't even have to like you. So I definitely see where he's coming from there. Do I think that stops any world war from happening again in the future? I highly doubt it. People are pretty crazy. They do dumb things. Um, Here we go. Thank you for all your hard work. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's so fun doing this stuff. This is your first bull run. How long does a bull run last, and how much of a pullback will we see before the next bull run? So typically, I stay away from too many predictions in terms of price. The main reason I do that is because there's really good people in this community who do a better job on price than I do. Um, I think Blockchain Backer, for example, is someone who does a really good job with price and analyzes charts in a way I can't. That's one thing I'm never going to pretend, guys. I'm not going to pretend to know things I don't. I'm going to give you guys the most alpha I can give you, let you guys know my opinions. But if I see an expert who does something better than me, I'm going to refer you to that expert. For me, right, like we're about to see a lot of new money come into this space. Um, The Bitcoin ETFs are going to cause a lot of people who couldn't buy crypto before to start buying crypto. And there's going to be ETFs for all the different cryptocurrencies in the top 10. They're going to come in. There's going to be a lot of money flowing in. Prices are going to go up a lot from where they are right now. And as you start to get that 5x, that 10x, that 20x, right? You just take profits based on the money you need, right? If you're much older than someone like me, right? And like you're thinking about retirement, you're thinking about, hey, I don't want to have money invested anymore, then you might want to take a lot of money out and spend that money how you want to spend it, right? It doesn't make any sense to be dying with massive bags of XRP. But if you're someone younger like me, right, where for me, I don't care if we go into another bear market again after this because I'm still going to hold through. I'm going to be a little more conservative. I'll tell you this, no one knows what the top of this cycle is going to be. No one knows what the bottom's going to be. I'll save you the time, and I've done this. You go back, you watch what all the predictions were for the last bull market. Everyone's wrong. Everyone misses the top. Some people get lucky. Guys, you just need to do what works for you. And if you go into it thinking, I'm going to get this right, you're just going to disappoint yourself. Go into it knowing you're going to time it wrong. Go into it knowing you're going to miss the top, but be happy you took some profits. And if you want a big bag for other future bull runs and say, I don't necessarily need the profits right now, make that plan now rather than getting to that point and getting all panicky about it. Me personally, I might sell like 10% to 20% max, but I want to hold a lot of what I hold for the long run, regardless of where this bull run goes. So that was a long answer, and I'm probably down on a whole bunch of questions here. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, no. Yeah, if you had a dollar, this is great. If I had a dollar for every XRP price prediction for XRP, I wouldn't need any XRP. Exactly, guys. People are constantly shooting the price predictions, and no one knows where it's going to go. I always bring up Tesla, right? It's one of the best stocks I ever invested in. And people were screaming at me to sell Tesla all the way up. And then when it was going back down, they were screaming at me that I missed the top. I made a mistake. Guys, I haven't sold a single Tesla share that I bought since 2016, 2017. And it's the best decision I ever could have made, right? Like, I am sitting on enormous profits. I never had to stress. I never had to pay taxes. And it's just sitting in my account. And my dream is for 5 years from now, those shares are still sitting in my account and I never had to pay taxes on them. I never had to stress about buying back in, doing this and that. I just want to hold them. For me, my investment thesis is find the Amazons, right? Find the Apples, find the Googles, hold them in a portfolio, go to sleep, wake up, and be richer, right? Like, if your strategy is to trade in and out of markets, then that's great and like more power to you. For me, like my strategy is to make as much money as I can, save as much money as I can, invest that money, and hopefully look back 10 years down the road and be like, okay, sick, I'm rich now. So just everyone's going to have a different strategy. And honestly, it's probably good to have a mix of both. In your opinion, why does XRP lag so much when Bitcoin goes up than other coins? Um, yeah, so the main reason why Bitcoin lags, XRP lags compared to other cryptocurrencies, and it's a little complex. So let me just say the reason why Bitcoin always goes up first is just because big institutions, right? We give them more credit than I think we should. A lot of these big institutions, right? They learn about crypto the same way we do. Think about how you learned about cryptocurrencies. Was XRP the first cryptocurrency you found? Probably not. You learn about Bitcoin, then you learn about Ethereum, then you learn about maybe XRP, maybe a different one. And it's the same thing for the big institutions, right? When the big institutions go to sell their normie clients a cryptocurrency fund, they're not going to be like, okay, well, look at our XRP fund, right? They're going to start with the Bitcoin fund because it's things people heard of, it's things they know about. It's just easy for them to wrap their head around. It's the same exact way when this money flows in. It flows into Bitcoin because it's the first thing people know about, and then it goes to the other cryptocurrencies. And over time, that probably changes, right? It wasn't the best performing stocks in the dot-com bubble, right? That ended up being the best performing stocks for the next 20 to 50 years. It was the companies that were doing the most to change the world. It was the companies that were making the most strides in building out strong businesses that were going to succeed for the next 20 to 50 years, right? It wasn't the ones that pumped the most. I'm not saying that same thing is applicable for Bitcoin. It's just that right now we're in a very speculative driven market. It's a lot of the big funds that move things. It's a lot of oh, we understand Bitcoin, but nothing else. So right now, just understand, guys, you are very, very early. I was playing a clip the other day on my YouTube channel. I put it up a couple times, and it was a guy in Congress actually, and he was talking about how long it really took the internet to be adopted, and it was like just talking about how the internet was really invented like 20 years before the dot-com bubble, right? And everyone was saying, "Oh, it's not getting anything. It's already kind of matured. It hasn't developed into anything." And then out of nowhere, regulations come in. The big players start adopting it, and it's exponential. I think we're still in the way early days of cryptocurrency. I think right now we're in that foundation layer. And the only reason why it feels like we're not as early as we are is because we have social media that connects us, all of us smart people, and we all listen to each other talk and say, oh, everyone knows about crypto. Guys, no one in my normal life knows about crypto. No one cares about it. That's why I started this channel, because I needed people to freaking talk about it so I wasn't driving my poor friends crazy about talking about crypto. They're like, dude, shut up. We just want to drink. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, definitely smash the like button, guys. I want to do more of these live streams. This just started, but this is pretty fun. And I want to be able to interact with you guys more, you know? I just never kind of realized how easy these live streams were. Why is XRP community considered the adults in the room? Can you explain? Yeah, that's a great one. That's an awesome question. The reason why we're considered the adults in the room is because in the early days of cryptocurrency, right, there was two completely different strategies, right? There was one strategy that was like, we're going to tear down the banks, we're going to destroy everything, and we're going to build this new financial system from the ground up. And this new financial system is going to be based on Bitcoin, right? And like, just think about logically whether or not you think that would work. Do you think you're going to be able to show your mom how to create a hardware wallet and go to the store and sign a 15-minute transaction with Bitcoin? Like, I can barely get my mom to understand how to use her iPhone, right? Like, it's never going to happen. So, like, the adults in the room, right? We like realized, like, hey, our moms are not going to be using Bitcoin. Hey, my friends don't want to freaking use Bitcoin, and they're my age and they're tech savvy. So, what's really going to be done? There's likely going to be centralized applications like Venmo, right? That use cryptocurrencies on the back end. And then on the back end, essentially, these cryptocurrencies will drive efficiencies. So, essentially, what we're really looking for is for things like XRP, the fastest, most efficient cryptocurrencies, right, to be used in the back end for these financial institutions and financial products. And then that way, cryptocurrencies can be integrated in a seamless way. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, guys, if I missed your question, I am definitely sorry. But if you saw how fast the questions were rolling in and how slowly I'm talking, you would understand. I know there you can do like super chats and stuff. If anyone does a super chat, you will auto get your question answered. But obviously, I'm not saying that anyone has to pay to ask me a question. I'm just picking random. I'm not skipping anyone's question. Um, let's see what else we got. XRP, fastest cryptocurrency. It doesn't, yeah, it's not the fastest, but it's the fastest out of the top tier ones, and it's the ones actually being used for payments and liquidity, right? It's like I can create like the fastest car on earth, right? Does that mean that that car will be the best selling car on earth? No, of course not, because there's a lot of other things that go into it. Now, if I have a very fast car that's good at a whole bunch of other things, right, and is being sold properly, then it's going to be a great product. So that's the thing I always say, right? XRP doesn't have to be the fastest, it just has to be fast enough. All right, let's see. If a Bitcoin ETF drops, would that make Bitcoin a security? Um, so no, the Bitcoin ETF would be a security. The Bitcoin itself would not be a security. Um, so Bitcoin, right, is like, I know like some people hate Bitcoin, some people love Bitcoin. Me personally, I like Bitcoin. I don't love it or hate it. It's never going to be a security. That's never going to change unless for some reason Congress passes laws that Bitcoin is a security. And guys, everything we're seeing in Congress and the Senate is that that's not going to happen. So Bitcoin is going to have securities built on it, which is the Bitcoin ETF. That's going to be a security. But Bitcoin itself will likely never be a security, just like XRP will never be a security. Now, if one of you were to contact me tomorrow and we were to put a contract together around XRP, say I was to say, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z for me, I'll send you XRP, right? That could actually be a security. But the XRP isn't a security, and the thing you're doing for me isn't a security. It's the agreement, it's the contract we just created. So that's why the Bitcoin ETF, right, is a security. It's an obligation for you to get that Bitcoin by owning the ticker, but the Bitcoin itself isn't the security. So hopefully that made things less confusing and not more confusing. Long story short, Bitcoin ain't going to be a security no matter who tells you otherwise. Um, what are your thoughts on SBI and Aramco partnership yesterday? That was really cool. I didn't talk much about that, right? This is another reason this is cool. You guys are bringing up dope stuff that like I don't always get to talk about. Um, so here's the thing, right? Like SBI is a pro cryptocurrency bank. So the bigger SBI gets, right, the more influence they're going to have on the global stage, and the bigger chance we're going to have for them to be using XRP for the things we want XRP to be used for. So in my opinion, it's a very bullish development, right? We suddenly have a bank that's pro XRP, pro cryptocurrency, landing big deals. Now, do I think this necessarily means XRP is going to be instantly integrated? No, we have to see how it plays out. But the bigger the pro cryptocurrency companies get, the bigger the Coinbases, the Ripples, the SBIs of the world get, the more players we're going to have driving cryptocurrency adoption rather than the people like JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon who are all anti crypto. So any big win for a cryptocurrency related company, right, is probably a big win for cryptocurrency. I would have to look more into the announcement to see if it was anything more than that, but the bigger SBI gets, guys, there's not a bank that's more XRP focused than SBI. So the bigger SBI gets, the more wins for SBI. I think the better it is for us. Um, do you still see a chance in a settlement before the end of the year? That's a tough one. To me, at this point, guys, it really doesn't matter. And the reason I say that is because XRP is not a security, one. Two, Brad and Chris are off the hook. Nothing's going to happen with them. And three, the charges left against Ripple are just a joke at this point, right? Like, it's whether or not they sold XRP to institutions and that transaction was a security, but then half of those transactions didn't even happen in the US. Half of those transactions, the institutions didn't even lose money on, so there's no damages there. The rest of this case, guys, is a massive nothing burger. The real thing we need to be looking for is one, is the SEC going to appeal this case when it's over? So, in my opinion, no, that's not going to happen because Gary Gensler will likely be gone by the time it's over. And if there's a settlement, there can't be an appeal. So overall, while I'm perfectly fine talking with the case about the case and as much as people want, guys, we won the case. Ripple won the case. It was the biggest win essentially we could have gotten. I think we should all just take that win for what it's worth and understand there's still some loose ends to clean up on the end here. But guys, that was absolutely amazing. And shout out to anyone who survived that entire case. I remember when I was first started, right? It was like this massive black swan. No one knew what was going to happen. And then suddenly the SEC was getting slapped from all directions. And the main reason I even made my channel was just because, like, I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm not a legal expert, but I was kind of reading through how good Ripple was doing in this case. And I was looking at the sentiment on Twitter where everyone was scared and bearish. And I was like, oh God, I need to make sure people understand that like Ripple's winning big and they're likely going to win. So yeah, we got the win. And whether or not it settles, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think anyone can predict if it's going to settle, and I honestly don't even think it matters that much. How much does Ripple pay you? Okay, so guys, just so you guys know, my sense of humor is, right, I like to fuck around. I like to make people like think certain things about me that aren't necessarily true to kind of go against the narratives. Ripple doesn't actually pay me. I say that as a joke because the haters of people who make videos about XRP are constantly, how much does Ripple pay you? How much does Ripple pay you? Ripple doesn't pay me anything. I like to give Zach Rector a lot of crap that he gets paid by Ripple. He doesn't get paid by Ripple. No one gets paid by Ripple. It's a joke that we like to tell because honestly, I wish Ripple paid me, guys. I don't make that much money from doing what I do. If Ripple paid me, I'd be very happy to take some money. It's a joke. So no, Ripple doesn't actually pay me. I make these videos because I'm a freaking crypto and XRP nerd and I need people to talk about all the information I have stuck in my freaking head. So now Ripple doesn't pay me. Um, Hold on. Is XRP cryptocurrency or digital asset? Same thing. It's just terminology. You can say whatever you want. Um, do you notice a mainstream narrative shift with XRP and Ripple? 100%. And guys, let me just tell you, it is just getting started. The second you see XRP start making some serious gains and start really going up, you're going to see the narrative shift even more. But just take a look at like Mike Novogratz, right? He was some massive Ripple and XRP hater, right? He had all this crap to say about Ripple and XRP. Suddenly, Ripple beats the SEC, and he's like, oh, the XRP army's onto something. They might know what they're talking about. Also, for those of you who saw my video, right, it was also Anthony Pompliano, another big XRP hater, right, is invested in an XRP fund. And funny enough, he's also investing in Ripple, the company. Guys, all these people, all the Bitcoin maxis, they are such clowns. They lie to your face about not liking Ripple and XRP. And then the fact of the matter is they are buying Ripple stock and XRP behind the scenes. And I talk about this all the time. Why do they do this? The reason they do this is because for them, it's a threat to Bitcoin. It's a threat to their bags. They know XRP is the one thing that could take down Bitcoin. So what do? They say, I have hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm going to try to FUD XRP out of existence. But guys, behind the scenes, they know they're going to fail. They know it's not going to work. And what do? They go and start buying it. So just keep that in mind. Like all these people push all this different FUD. And what happens? They buy it behind the scenes. They don't want you to know about it. Just kind of funny. Yep. Nope. That's what they do. All these people, guys, they just FUD XRP because it's the one thing that can actually disrupt what Bitcoin is. It's just better money, right? With a hard set supply. And you can even make the case that it's more decentralized. And I'm not going to jump into that right now, but if you really look into it, it is more decentralized. Bitcoin is more distributed, right? There's more Bitcoin nodes out there, but there's more of a concentration among the top players. All these Anthony Pomplianos and people, guys, they all hate this, right? This is what makes them go out saying, oh, don't buy XRP. It's a scam. It's a blah, 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 blah. And then they're investing in Ripple and buying XRP behind the scenes. It's a total joke. Nothing has passed the Senate in 6 years. Yeah, I mean, guys, that's why we're sitting where we are because the United States is a you know what show. Just understand, right? Like, eventually, whether they get it right or not, the rest of the world is going to get it right, and companies are just going to say we're going to start dealing with the crypto assets. Like, eventually, this stuff will get figured out in terms of regulations. But the thing we need to understand, right, is like the technology hasn't even been close to being disrupted. There's nothing out there that does what cryptocurrencies can do, and XRP is the best position for the financial sector. So, as annoying as it is watching these senators and congressmen blow it by not making the appropriate regulations, let's just take it as a win, right? That this asset class is still 100% here to stay and is still going to be critically important to the financial system. Like, I am more confident in that by the day, watching everything happen, that is going to be critical to the financial system. Am I confident we're going to get good rules around it in the near future? A lot less confident. But as long as the technology persists, guys, the same thing happened with the internet. People said the internet regulations were taking forever. It was stifling innovation. Eventually, they got it figured out. And what happened? All the internet investors made a killing. So we'll get there. Just a matter of time. It's the shame of being early, right? You get to be rich, you get to make a lot of money, but you have to deal with the times we're going through right now where things take forever and things suck. You can't have it both ways. Sometimes you get lucky and you get in right beforehand, and then you complain that you weren't able to buy enough. There's no winning. The grass is always greener. Um, X is liquidity currency. Mickle, is liquidity currency? What's the so liquidity is just the ease of being able to transfer one thing to another, right? So like liquidity is just saying how easy can I take this one thing and transform it into another thing. It's essentially um how easy things can be exchanged for one another. So some currencies are liquid, some aren't. To US dollar, right, to euro, that trade is very liquid, but US dollar to right, some socks in my closet, that's a very illiquid trade because not that many people want the socks in my closet, right? There's no demand there. So liquidity is just how easy one thing can be traded for another. The reason why you always hear liquidity mentioned around XRP is because XRP makes things more liquid, right? Rather than having to go to, hey, US dollar to the socks in my dresser, right? Like you could only find people who actually want the socks in my dresser who have US dollar, you could say, hey, we could go from the socks in my dresser, right, to XRP to US dollar. And then suddenly, because there's a bridge in the middle, my socks only need to be liquid to XRP rather than US dollar. Now, that's probably like the worst example on earth, but it's just the ability to have something in the middle that's liquid to everything rather than having to create all these different pairs. You just have one pair in the middle and everything connects to it rather than USD to Connor socks, Australian dollar to Connor socks, this to Connor socks, and you have all these pairs up and down. You just have everything liquid to XRP. Uh, that's hard. That's hard to explain without some kind of graphic, but hopefully you've started to wrap your head around it. Flare is going to be big. Yeah, I agree. It's a shame that Flare kind of launched the way it did at the top of the bull market and then kind of fell back down because people hate watching price go down and it pisses everyone off, right? But like the innovation behind Flare is great. It needs to bottom out. It needs to start getting some momentum in price action and the sentiment will change. But we'll get there, right? It takes some time. We're not there yet, but Flare is going to do some amazing things. And honestly, it's one of my favorite protocols out there. Um, for those of you guys who don't know, there's actually ways to actually calculate how much Flare you're going to get over time because of how you can actually delegate your Flare tokens, and it's actually an astronomical amount. So if you're someone who wants to like get into Flare, and you're like calculating like how much you need to buy, just a suggestion, what I did, right, is I used this calculator to figure out how much Flare do I have to buy now so that in 3 years from now I'll have X Flare. So essentially I never have to buy Flare again because I just get all the delegation rewards and all the money comes to me that way, which is kind of a cool way of doing it. I just want to throw that out there. So you don't necessarily have to be buying Flare every week for your dollar cost average, right? You can just delegate your Flare via the Bifrost wallet, and you could make. Yep, that's the question, right? Do you use the Bifrost wallet? I do use the Bifrost wallet. Yeah, you could just delegate it there, and then you don't even have to freaking buy Flare every week, right? You just get those delegation rewards. Um, Coinbase wallet. Anyone use Lobster wallet? I don't really use the XLM ecosystem that much. To me, right? Like it's just kind of like XRP, except a little different, right? Like I already have XRP. I don't need to be having all these different hedges. So I don't do much with XLM. I know there are people who do. I think if you are interested in XLM, you should probably just go to the people who focus on XLM more closely because to me, it's just like I can only focus on so many things, right? The more I go into XLM and the more I go into these other things, the less sharp I get on XRP and Ripple and some of the other things I focus on. So for me, I just like to keep my knowledge a little more concentrated. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend to be an expert on everything. If I don't know anything, guys, I'm just going to tell you I don't know much about Lobster or XLM. There's people who do. Definitely go to them. Um, what is Uphold's Vault? So Uphold's Vault is pretty cool. It's a mix between holding your crypto on an exchange and doing self custody. Um, so for people who don't want to do self custody, essentially it's a more secure form of actually holding your crypto on an exchange, pretty much without me getting into the technicals because you don't want me who doesn't work for Uphold explaining the technicals of a cryptocurrency custody solution. It's essentially just a solution that Uphold offers in which they can hold your crypto, but they can't move your funds. So you never have to worry about Uphold saying, oh, we have to send your money off or we lost your money, right? Your money is provenly there. They can't move it or touch it. But if it was ever to get, but if you were to ever forget your password, right, or your key in the future, they can help you recover it. So it's like a mix between holding your crypto on an exchange and self custody. I personally don't use it. I might use it in the future. For me, it's still a little too new for me to go experimenting with it. I'd rather other people experiment with it and then I can see the results and make my own assumption. That's how I take a lot of things, right? I like to let other people be the beta testers and then I'll come in once I know it's all clear or I feel the risk isn't there anymore. Then I'll move in. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's definitely an innovative new product. I give Uphold a lot of credit for at least experimenting with these things rather than just doing what every exchange does and do the same exact thing over and over and over and over again, right? Like that gets boring. Like let's see some new stuff. So cool solution. But I would just say before you put all your XRP in it, right, you do some serious research other than the brief description I just gave you. Um, do you think that Uphold's partnership, uh, I don't think it involves Medico. Medico and Uphold don't have a partnership. Medico has a partnership with Ripple. So, yeah, I don't think those are two related. Yeah, everything's great, man. Yeah, I'm loving life right now. Grinding my day job, doing what I have to do. But I'm excited for the day where hopefully I can do this full time for you guys because honestly, this is what I much prefer doing over anything else. But I'm doing great. I hope you guys are all doing great too. Um, Decent Wallet. I've never used Decent Wallet. I see some really good things with Decent Wallet, right? I see a lot of people saying they're big fans of it. Same thing with Trezor, same thing with Ledger. Personally, just for XRP related, I like the Zum wallet a lot. I use the Zum wallet. I have one of those Tagnum cards too that like is like the hardware additive to it. But here's the thing with self custody, right? Like you have to do what makes you most comfortable, and I'm not an expert on self custody. Like I have done research on what other experts say about self custody, but to actually understand these things on a deep level, like you have to be such a technical nerd. Like it's so freaking hard. At a certain point, right, you just have to pick one that has great reviews that people trust and kind of cross your fingers. So far, all the main ones, right, the ledgers, the decents, the treasures, the zums. I haven't seen anything scary about any of those, so I think you're just kind of picking one and crossing your fingers a little bit. I know that's scary, but hopefully sometime in the future, right, in the next 5 years, you'll be able to just hold your cryptocurrency in a place that's insured and you never have to worry about anything, right? You just hold it at this institution and just like your stock portfolio or your RRA or your Roth, right, it's just there no matter what and it's insured. Hopefully we get to that point. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. And this is back to what I was saying, right? Where it sucks, but it's good to be early. It sucks to be early because you have to deal with these like hack jobs of self custody and like you don't know who's the best. But at the same time, that's the reason why we're going to make so much bread because we're here before all the normies can even figure out this stuff. So, uh, no, you're not spamming, man. No, you're not spamming at all. These are all great questions. You guys are awesome. This is great. What's my day job? Well, I'm not going to tell you too much, but I work in surgical robotics, so I'm an engineer, so I do stuff involving that. It's what I went to school for, but hopefully I can switch to fintech at some point in the future because this is the stuff I'm really passionate about. Um, do you think we get a pump into the first or second week of January? Yeah, so that's a fun question. The Bitcoin spot ETFs, if approved in January, early January, I think will cause a massive amount of money to flow back in. And I really do think this is going to be the thing that gets the big institutions like excited about investing back into this asset class. Because just think about it this way, right? These institutions are about to be, there's 13 of them selling a Bitcoin ETF. They're about to be all fighting to sell their customers access to the Bitcoin ETF. So they're going to be fighting to sell their customers Bitcoin. They are going to want to be positioned in Bitcoin and these crypto assets, right, in a significant way before they start selling it to all of their customers. So I think we're likely going to keep trending upwards up until January. And that's where I think there's a big question mark. How explosive these ETFs are going to be, guys, I have no idea. Personally, I think these things could be insane. I think they could cause billions of dollars of spot Bitcoin to be evaporated off the market. Like, I think these things could really get things exponential. Now, whether or not there's going to be a ton of manipulation, no one knows, but I am extremely bullish about the Bitcoin spot ETFs. And I really do think that that's going to be the event that really causes people to start funneling back in. Um, Man, guys, I think a lot of people are kind of stuck in this like mentality of like things are bad, things are like have to go back down because of like Terra Luna, FTX, like guys, all these things. To me, it seems like all these bad narratives of like Binance and all these bad things are behind us, and it start moving forward into like the good narratives again. And I think the Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be the start to the bullish narratives. So let's cross our fingers and hope that's it because guys, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff in the cryptocurrency space in the next couple of years or so. This might just be the start of it. It might be starting with the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Um, let's see what else we got. Do you hold What's the holdup with XRP and Liquidity Hub? I don't know. Probably nothing, to be honest. They probably just don't have that many Liquidity Hub customers yet, and there's no need to have XRP in it yet. Um, it could be something about around the Ripple SEC case. I don't know what the holdup for XRP and Liquidity Hub is. XRP might already be in Liquidity Hub. There might just not be an announcement for it yet. I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't overthink it. I'm sure it's nothing. Um, Let me see. Deep in Treasury. Treasury working with Ripple behind the scenes. Guys, there's plenty of members from both the Federal Reserve and the Treasury at Ripple. Um, just think about it this way. For those of you who follow traditional markets, how many other companies do I follow who have members of the Federal Reserve and the Treasury on their board of directors? Not a lot. I think there is something very deep about what Ripple is doing, very deep about what XRP is, and I think there are avenues where they could become systemically important infrastructure for the next generation financial system. Um, right? Whether or not you're one of the people who believes this is all part of a greater plan, or whether or not you see them being positioned in real time to help create the plan. I'm more in the camp of the second one, right? I think over time, the government's really realizing how important Ripple and XRP are going to be. And they're saying, hey, we need to make sure we're well represented at this organization. We need to make sure that this organization has the firepower in place to really start making some of these big changes. But we'll just have to see. There's not too many organizations Ripple size that have the firepower they do. So definitely think there's a lot going on there. Do I still hold Tesla? 100%. Guys, I hope in 5 years I still hold every single Tesla share I have, and maybe I'll buy some more along the way. But I'm a very long-term holder. I really do want to look back at my portfolio and, right, like 10 to 15 years from now and just be like, wow, I can't believe these things went this high over this amount of time. Um, I want it to be like the people who held Amazon and Apple at $1, right? And look at their portfolio now and see them at thousands of dollars, right? That's what I want my investments to be. It's just the way I invest. Like some people like to trade in and out. Some people just like to hold. Me personally, I just want to hold it. I want it to not have to worry about it. That's just the way I do things. Do you think the Ripple case was just a vetting process? Yeah, so that's a really interesting one, Walter. I've heard that mentioned a couple times. I think to a certain degree you're right, and it's hard to know whether or not it was a kill shot or a vetting process. We'll likely never know the answer, but regardless, it ended up being a vetting process because now every single financial institution that was skeptical about working with Ripple, skeptical about all these different things. What did the SEC just do? The SEC just absolutely unequivocally proved that there's nothing bad going on at Ripple. There's nothing bad going on with XRP. They did a 5-year investigation. They couldn't find anything. So regardless of whether or not it was a planned vetting process, guess what? It ended up being a vetting process. Adam, let's go, man. You always ask the best questions on Twitter. All the partnerships Ripple had developed about 2 years ago. I heard of Canada seeking to back digital assets of silver and gold. Oh, I would not be surprised if they were looking to back some digital assets with silver and gold. Now, I don't think that's going to happen with XRP necessarily. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to fully back XRP with anything one to one. But if you were to hold, right, if you were to have XRP and different assets, I mean, sorry, gold and silver on the XRP blockchain, essentially their value by a degree would be integrated into XRP itself because XRP would be the liquidity for these different assets issued on the XRP ledger blockchain. So in that way, I think it could sort of back the value of XRP, but I don't think there's ever going to be a scenario in which they say, hey, account A is here. This account A backs the value of XRP. Instead, I just think it's going to be like, hey, we're issuing XRP or we're issuing gold and silver on the XRP ledger, and because those assets are now on the XRP ledger, their value flows into the XRP ecosystem. Are you going to eat lunch or that's so funny. Guys, I don't know. That is a taxable transaction. Now, it shouldn't be a taxable transaction, but the IRS says that if you transfer one digital asset to another, that's a taxable transaction. Now, guys, I am not a tax expert. I will say that right now. So take anything I'm saying about taxes with a massive grain of salt. But if you do transfer one digital asset to another, my understanding is that is a taxable transaction. And guy, I don't even want to get involved with the IRS. That's a whole nother story. Do you think we ever find out who scammed? That's a great one. Um, no, I don't think we find out who Scams is. I don't really have any guess. I think Scams is just a random guy who's a Bitcoin maxi. Um, I love interacting with Scams. Like it's kind of funny, right? Like if you're ever on Twitter Spaces and me and Scams are battling it out, I love debating Scams because honestly, he makes me so much smarter. Um, he does things that are annoying me, and I'm sure you hear me get fired up when I'm debating him. But guys, it makes me so much smarter. It makes everyone listening to the space so much smarter, and it just lets us like hammer in on these FUD points, right? That people always follow. I mean, always fall for. So like, I don't think we ever find out who Scams is. If I ever get the chance to meet him, that would be sick. No voice. Can you not hear? Can you guys not hear me? I knew this was gonna happen eventually. Give me. Oh, it's choppy. Let me see what I can do. Of course, there's. Let me know. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if things are better. If not, maybe I'm just maxing out the time I can be on a Twitter space. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Just rip them in the chat and I'll get a quick gauge. There's not an easy way to know what's going on. Audio is good here. All right, so maybe check your. All right, you guys are good. Thank you. Thank you. Follow the names, right? Rosie Rios, former treasurer, now Ripple. Michael Barr, previously Federal Reserve. Yeah. Papa PJB, you got it, man. Like, there's a reason these people are there, right? It's because there's big things going on there. You don't know. So I think some people just overcomplicate it, man. Right? Like these people are going there because they see the potential. Now, if you think that the former treasurer of the United States and the current uh, head of, I forget what he's doing at the Federal Reserve right now, Michael Barr, he's high up, right? If you think those people are clueless, right, and don't understand what's happening in the financial system, more power to you. To me, I tend to say, okay, these people probably are pretty smart and probably see some serious potential in Ripple and XRP. But hey, every man for himself. Some people don't think like that. Does Ripple have? Yeah, no, guys, XRP is absolutely critical to everything Ripple's going to do. Like, here's the thing not a lot of people understand. Without XRP, Ripple's just a normal company, right? Ripple isn't that special. Like, there's already messaging companies out there, right? There's already companies that can send one financial message to another institution. Without XRP, Ripple's nothing. XRP is the secret sauce to everything Ripple's going to do. It's the reason they hold so much XRP. It's the reason why every single product they release integrates XRP in one way or another or will integrate XRP. Ripple does not need XRP. Ripple can probably survive as a very lame, not that powerful institution without it, but for it to actually become what we think it needs to become, it 100% is going to need XRP. Without XRP, Ripple is just Swift 2.0 with no customers. With XRP, Ripple is significantly more powerful than anything Swift can ever create. So that's why XRP is so powerful. It tacks something on to what Ripple is that Ripple can never be without it. XRP unlocks trapped capital. Yep, exactly. XRP is just Swift without, I mean, Ripple's just Swift without XRP. Ripple needs XRP. Ripple is a company that is doing everything it can to create products around XRP because XRP is the real innovation. Guys, we already had messaging companies. We've already had companies that tried to do exactly what Ripple has done in the past. The only reason why, yeah, and Swift works, right? Swift works great. For what Swift is doing, Swift does a good job. The thing that people don't understand is Ripple is doing things Swift cannot do, right? And Ripple and Swift, when it comes down to messaging, they're probably pretty comparable. But when you tack XRP onto what Ripple is doing, then you have something powerful. I think that's what people miss. Did you? JP Morgan has XRP. I would not be surprised if a lot of different institutions had XRP. Like I said, guys, the Anthony Pomplianos of the world were running around telling you that XRP was a scam, and then he was buying XRP and Ripple. Like, right? Like, these institutions lie. They don't want you to know what they're doing. They do these things behind your back. They want to trick you. They want to try to head fake you. They want to try to do all these different things so that you don't find out about XRP. Guys, I the nice thing about all of you is you guys are all smart and you like totally understand like what's going on. So like I don't have to like lecture you on that, but like it is important to realize XRP uh XRP is what makes the settlement possible. Yeah, exactly, Adam, right? Like you absolutely need that settlement piece for this to be transformational. Ripple and the other thing people don't understand is like, right, Ripple's going to go out of their way to create financial products that are different than different than what we see today involving XRP. They're going to keep thinking of new ways to use XRP, right? Like there was the land registry using the XRP ledger in Colombia. There was the carbon credit solution. These are all different things that Ripple's going to different vendors and saying, hey, we can build this product for you better on the XRP ledger. And the reason they're using the XRP ledger is because it's the actual game-changing technology. JP Morgan coin is for international transaction or internal transactions. Exactly, Taylor. That is huge. And I've made plenty of videos on this, right? Like does anyone really think that Bank of America is going to want to get a bunch of JP Morgan coin? Do you think other governments are going to want to trade JP Morgan coin? Of course not. JP Morgan coin is for JP Morgan only, and that is not my speculation because Citibank actually launched Citibank token, right? And what did the head of that project say? They said, "Okay, this is great, but no one wants Citibank token. All we can use Citibank token is for our internal transfers. XRP isn't for internal transfers, it's for external transfers. It's for being a transfer protocol between all these different pockets of value like JP Morgan coin, like Citicoin, like CBDCA, CBDCB. You need something in the middle. Ripple is trying to be XRP. Ripple is trying to make XRP be that thing in the middle. Can you talk? Oh, can you talk about BlackRock's amendment summary number 9, where Bitcoin could face the same regulatory clarity that XRP faced? Yeah. So, Christopher, that's a very great observation. I just want to say this real quick. What these people need to do when they file these Bitcoin ETFs, right, is they need to put in a whole bunch of different things that could possibly happen in the future as risk factors. So what BlackRock needs to do, right, is they need to say there is a possibility of Bitcoin being called a security because technically anything's possible. They just want to cover all their bases. It doesn't mean they think it's probable. So is it possible the SEC comes out tomorrow and says, hey, Bitcoin's a security, F all of you, didn't see this coming? Yeah, I think that's certainly possible. Do I think it's probable? No, I think it's very improbable. So what BlackRock's going to do is they're going to put a whole bunch of different disclosures in their filing that whether or not are probable could be possible, and that's why they're going to put them. So just because it's in there doesn't mean it's something that has to happen. But I still think it's a really important question because is it possible the SEC comes out tomorrow and says Bitcoin's a security? Yes. But then what happens? That goes to court, and what happens in court? The SEC loses. Like Bitcoin's not going to be a security. So just want to put that out there, right? Like the SEC can say whatever they want. BlackRock can say we're preparing for any scenario. But until there's real indication that something like that would happen, then I really wouldn't worry about it. And also, guys, I'm probably going to get your last questions in. I'm probably going to wind this down in like 10 minutes or so. If you didn't get your question answered, don't worry. I'm going to try to start doing this like every day. Like this is really fun. So you'll get plenty of time to ask your questions, and we'll try to hammer out as much of these as we possibly can. And also make sure to hit the like button so that when people go and watch this back, they know it was useful to you guys if it was. So just take a second to like it so that way more people can get value from this. There were some awesome questions asked in here. This was a lot of fun. Um, let's see what else we got. Colin, you're the XRP Grim Reaper. That's funny. Why is JP Morgan fighting Ripple via the lawsuit, but on the other side, we hear they're subtly adopting the tech? Guys, that's what JP Morgan does, right? Like, they want to kill what Ripple and XRP are doing because it disrupts their business. But at the same exact time, if they can't beat it, what are they going to do? They're going to join it. There's actually a specific JP Morgan memo that said if Ripple beats the SEC in court, XRP could be poised for significant adoption. Guys, they know what's coming. They know what we know, right? This is a game changing technology that's going to transform the financial system. But if they could pick tomorrow, if they could make it go away, they would want it to go away. So they want XRP and Ripple to go away because it disrupts their business. But at the same exact time, right? Like, what are they gonna do? That's the thing. Thank Martis. Martis, thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. That's awesome. Have a good one, Papa. Yeah, thanks for the awesome questions, guys. What's XRP, Colin? The CFTC takes control. Yes, I'm having a hard time reading the name. Sorry, guys. It's just really bright where I am. The CFTC will take control of cryptocurrency regulations. I completely agree with that. Does that mean the SEC and Ripple have to settle faster? Guys, the SEC is such a freaking wild card. Who the heck knows what the SEC is going to do? I think personally the SEC is just going to lose and we're going to put all this behind us and there's not going to be an appeal and XRP is going to go the rest of its history with not being a security. Eventually Congress is going to get their you-know-what together and start fixing this stuff. But we need to wait and see what happens. So far, it seems like it doesn't really matter what the SEC says because they're just going to lose. It seems like Congress and the Senate are coming out right now and saying, hey, guess what? XRP is not a security. Most of these cryptocurrencies are not securities, and the CFTC is going to be in control. So, take it for what it is. To me, it just seems like the SEC has kind of regulated themselves out of this market. I have to make sure that, no, thank you so much for the donation. I was making sure you didn't have a question here. I wanted to answer any question you had, but hopefully I didn't miss it. Do you think Joel Katz or do you think David Schwartz plays with the community? I think he puts out some stuff that is kind of, he does hint at certain things and you can take some things he says literally, but I think for the most part, he does play with the community a lot. And if you see some of the people, and hopefully this doesn't offend anyone, if you see some of the people who believes the riddles in this community are like time travelers or gods, right? Like they take everything David says as like has to be fact, has to be real. He's even come out and said multiple times that a lot of what he does is just messing with people. Guys, David's a funny guy. It's the same way earlier someone asked the question, do I actually get paid by Ripple? I was just messing with people, right? So I wouldn't take anything like that too seriously, but once in a while, right, that David does drop a gem. He did time perfectly the top of the last market. I know he has tweeted out stuff before that has lined up perfectly with other events taking place. So for the most part, I would take what David says when he puts out weird cryptic stuff with a grain of salt. Once in a while, he might be pointing to something, but I don't really have much to say about that other than that. I love David. I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job, and the same for Brad Garlinghouse. I love how Colin's just getting roasted in the chat for being a Bitcoin maxi. Guys, the best thing about Bitcoin maxis, right, is like they're entertaining to argue with. So never get fed up when you're arguing with a Bitcoin maxi. Just make sure you understand their points, understand why they're wrong. And what you'll find is you actually become a smarter XRP investor by proving some of these people wrong. So whenever you get in an argument with like a Bitcoin maxi or someone who doesn't understand crypto, right? All I want you to understand is say, hey, why does this person say the things they say? Why are they coming from this perspective? And understand why those perspectives are wrong, because what you're going to end up finding is you're going to understand your own investment and your own thesis a lot better by being able to do those things. Uh, Mickle sitting in his car with no more than a fourth of a Bitcoin. Colin, man, you are dead wrong. So don't you worry about that. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, guys, if there's no other questions, I'll wind this down. So I'll give yeah, guys, don't worry about Colin. I think it's hilarious. I deal with scams on a daily basis. He's one of the smartest Bitcoin maxis out there. So don't you worry about Colin. He can come in here and chirp, and then if the conversation ever gets dry, I'll pivot onto him. So you can just ignore him. I'll take care of it. It needs to be taken care of. Does Ripple set the price of XRP, or how does Ripple? Ripple does not set the price of XRP. The market does. Let me just tell you this, guys, right now. And Brad Garlinghouse said this as a joke one time. If Ripple could set the price of XRP, XRP would be trading a lot higher than it is today. So, I know I don't think Ripple sets the price of XRP. Ripple sets the price of XRP. But I think what Ripple will do is help drive a lot of adoption for XRP, and then XRP will go to a very high price. So um, I think it kind of plays in on itself. Let me just do something real quick. All right, see you, Colin. He's getting too distracting, so I had to boot him. Maybe he'll be allowed to come back in the future. Why is XRP down today, guys? Day-to-day price action's tough, man. I'll tell you, when I was investing in Tesla from 2016 to 2020, right? I was down as much as 50% on my Tesla holdings. I was down 60% on my Tesla holdings. What did I do? I just kept on buying Tesla. I kept on dollar cost averaging in. And guess what? For the longest time, everyone told me I was insane. I was making a mistake. Tesla was a scam. Elon was getting sued by the SEC. It was overvalued. Their cars sucked. Blah, 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 blah. Eventually, the market figured out that the people who understood what was going on behind the scenes really had a much better idea of Tesla's business than the haters. And ultimately, the rest of the market figured that out and priced Tesla accordingly. And the people who were there the entire time, who ignored the day-to-day movements, the up and downs, the little stuff, and the people who were taking advantage of those day-to-day movements to increase their bag, they made out like bandits. And the people who were sitting there fudding, making up all this stuff no one cared about, right? Those are the people who were left in the sidelines. So just don't pay too much attention to the day-to-day movements. I know when we're in like these long, prolonged, stagnant periods, it gets so boring. It's like, when is things going to move, right? It's like, I've been here forever. Guys, everyone in this community feels like that to a certain degree, right? Like, it gets tiring. But the thing you need to understand is that's just the way these assets move. These assets go on very prolonged stretches where they go sideways, they don't move, and then boom, out of nowhere, when no one expects it, you get this massive God candle, this ripper to the upside, and it makes all those years and months you waited for something to happen feel like absolutely nothing. So it's just what happens with cryptocurrency, right? Maybe one day that cycle changes. Maybe one day that cycle gets different. But right now, that's just the way it goes. It's what we signed up for. Oh, move. Do you think Liv Warren is going to fuck up the market? Well, that's a good one, guys. I don't do much politics on this channel, but it's funny because she's like the one person, right, where I could say fuck Elizabeth Warren and no one actually gets offended. So that's the best part about some of these people, right? There's certain people on both sides of the aisle. You could say fuck this person, and that's the kind of the best part about where politics are going, because I think I think we're starting to figure out that like you don't have to be necessarily one party. There's clowns on both sides of the aisle. But guys, Elizabeth Warren has sponsored 350 different bills and hasn't passed a single piece of legislation. Um, if she's our biggest fear in the next bull market, we are in very good shape. I will tell you that right now. If we're scared of Elizabeth Warren taking down the next bull market, guys, we could not be looking better, because that lady has one of the worst track records ever of passing legislation. If she can't even wrap her head around what Bitcoin and crypto is, she's certainly not going to be able to draft a bill that's going to be able to stop it. What are Elon's connections with Ripple and XRP? Yeah, he did comment on it briefly. I think there's a lot of people who aren't allowed to comment on it. That's just speculation. There's some interesting wallets, right, with like Elon's name on them that hold massive amounts of XRP. But I'll take that question on another time just because right now I don't have the facts or the resources to really go at that one. But I have a feeling, right, like Elon does know a lot about what Ripple and XRP are. If you actually look at some of the board members of Ripple coming over recently, they're past Amazon executives, past Uber executives, right? It's all these high flying tech companies. Um, there's no doubt in my mind, right, that like Tesla has executives that are getting offers to go over to Ripple and vice versa. Like they know about each other. Um, yeah, Elon's no dummy, exactly, right? It's like one of the smartest people in the world. He's probably sending wire transfers that are taking 3 to 4 days to get places for Tesla. He's probably spending all this money pre-funding accounts and doing all these different things. And he has Dogecoin and Bitcoin on his balance sheet. Um, we'll see where it goes, guys. I have a feeling Elon Musk in the future is going to have some kind of closer connection to Ripple and XRP. Just one of those things we have to get there, right? We're early. I keep saying that. Being early, it sucks and it's fun, right? Like it's going to be really fun when we all profit big time from being early. It's not as fun when we have to sit through time periods of like kind of questioning, being unsure about stuff. But guys, those times go away, right? Like eventually we get through this. And I have a feeling that in 10 to 15 years from now, people are actually going to be upset that we weren't earlier. People are actually going to be upset that we didn't have more time to accumulate these assets. People are going to be upset that they felt like they didn't have enough time, which is going to be funny, right? Because it's going to be the opposite of how everyone feels now, where everyone's like, oh, I wish this would just be over. I wish we'd go to the moon already. I think it's going to end up being the opposite. So we'll have to see how that prediction plays out. But guys, this is a very powerful asset class. These are very powerful technologies. I've never questioned once the ability for these things to get adoption. It's just a matter of time. The internet took 30 years to really get mainstream. Crypto's only been around for 10, right? It's we whether or not it goes faster, slower, no one knows. We just know we got a very, very powerful technology here that's going to be very useful in our next generation financial system. A lot of funny headlines today. Guys, they're going to FUD this asset class until the Bitcoin ETFs go live, and then they're going to figure out new ways to try to FUD it. They're always going to try to FUD it. Just zoom out on a chart and look what happens over time. There's nothing really about long-term crypto charts that make me too scared about the FUD. To me, it just seems like we got a lot of great things ahead of us. All right, guys. This was fucking sick. We'll have to make sure to do these more again in the future. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, around this time every day, we'll have something like this going. I'll have to see if I can get out and actually do this. But thank you so much for all the questions. If your question didn't get answered today, like I said, we'll be doing more of these. So we'll definitely get all these different questions answered. Something I did for the people who wanted to subscribe to me on Twitter, right? I let everyone ask me questions beforehand and just made sure I got those questions answered. It's going to have to be something I test. So I just checked Twitter and I wonder if the live stream froze when I did that. Can I just get a thumbs up if the stream just froze? Because that will make me do my strategy a little different how I answer some of the other questions. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We'll make sure to definitely hit these more in the future. Just let me know if the stream froze real quick when I was talking so I know not to do that. Oh, it did? Yep, I figured. All right, well, I'll have to figure out a new way to get those sub questions in. We'll get that going. There's a lot going on. Anyway, guys, I hope everyone has a great day. Hopefully I got to answer some of your questions. Hopefully you had fun here. And I'll talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow on the next one. For now, Mickle out.